How you doing, guys? Welcome back. It's LSP. It's currently the 14th of December 2021. Today I'm going to be discussing Swissborg for the DAO. Before I get into the video, as always, guys, this is not financial advice. Please remember everything that I discuss today is for educational purposes only. So let's have a chat about CHSB. The markets have been very slow lately, and we're at that time of year now where the volumes are really starting to thin out. We're not really getting any uplift on pretty much anything. The only thing that's really moving is sort of Bitcoin and Ethereum. They're taking a downturn. And on that note, I do believe that Bitcoin, hasn't finished going down. So I think what's happening now is this is suppressing a lot of these, tokens from moving forward, or at least moving higher. But what's interesting about CHSB is it's actually holding pretty well. CHSB is being accumulated at the moment, and you can see that every time it goes up, and I know that these are for, in some cases specific reasons like the buyback, or some other reasons. But the reality is, as price goes up and then it just rejects, and price goes up and it just rejects, we still have to factor in that rejection. That price is trying to go up and then it's reversing to the downside because there's no follow through. There's no, volume coming into the market. There's no volume coming into CHSB to really get things going. But I think as time sort of unfolds, throughout December, we're going to find ourselves, sort of pick up. I believe the pickup's going to be sort of first quarter of next year. But I think as we continue to go through December and things really start to slow down, we're probably going to get one of two things. Either, and this is not just CHSB related, this is all, all tokens on the Wealth app. We're probably going to get one of two things: either complete flat price delivery, not really a great deal happening, or we're going to get spikes of volatility on various different tokens. Now, what I'll be doing in a future video, which will be the next one, I'm going to be going through a list of some of the tokens, and I'll be pointing out the ones at least that I think are showing a little bit of relative strength, a relative strength compared to Bitcoin. Because like I said, at the moment, even though Bitcoin's effect on the market isn't as strong as it used to be, it's still a big player. It's still the biggest, and it still does have an effect on most, tokens. So with that said, in terms of analysis, there's not really much to discuss other than the fact that we are continuing to grind sideways. You can see that I'm actually sticking to the weekly chart here. The main liquidity pool that we're still grinding within is effectively this one here, and this is the largest one. It is pretty big. You can see price has been sitting here for quite some time. It tried to go here and it's come straight back into this liquidity pool, and this is a very good sign of accumulation. When you see price dipping into the same area over and over and over and over and over again, a lot of people believe that this is major support. This is not the case, especially the way that price is unfolding and it's being represented, in the candlesticks that you see in front of you. This is not the case. This is not major support. This is simply accumulation within a very large liquidity pool. And these liquidity pools, they're not subject to, they have to be buys or they have to be sells, meaning it's just a bunch of buy orders or it's just a bunch of sell orders, or the liquidity is just for the buy side or for the sell side. Liquidity pools are generally just flat. Okay, there's no favor one side or the other. So just imagine a liquidity pool housing lots of liquidity. Okay, and as price is bouncing into this liquidity pool right now, as CHSB is doing, there's an argument to be made that we don't actually know whether CHSB is accumulated, being accumulated to the buy side or to the sell side. And when I say accumulated, just imagine all market participants. We don't need to get super technical about this. We don't need to understand every little detail. We just need to look at the basics. Price is bouncing within a liquidity pool, okay? And we start with that basic question: is it picking up buy liquidity to go higher, or is it picking up sell liquidity to go lower? Yeah, that's effectively the simplest way that I can put it. And the way that we can sometimes ascertain whether or not, there's a lot of things. You can go down to the lower time frames, get confirmation, look for volatility spikes and impulses and all this stuff. But one of the easiest ways, at least I've found, to deduce whether or not price is accumulating to the buy side or to the sell side, is to simply look at the reaction after the fact. Yeah. Now, this is something that we can't unfortunately see now. It's a hindsight thing that then gives us the indication that we need and the confidence to take, whatever we're thinking to its conclusion. So if we look at this and we can see what I believe to be buy side liquidity, and I'll just quickly tell you, I know it's buy side liquidity because I've already done, you know, the rundown on the 4 hour and the hourly and so on. There's a lot of stuff obviously that I do that you guys don't see, because these videos would just be too long, and obviously there's some things that I like to keep to myself. But let's assume that we don't know. Is it buy side liquidity? I have no idea. You know, is it sell side? I have no idea. So we wait for the reaction. Now, right now, there's nothing we can do. We just simply wait. Let's say that our investment strategy is to accumulate as much CHSB as we can, because we're looking forward to some of the features that are going to be released, and we need CHSB to take advantage of those features. So while we're doing this, okay, that's fine. It doesn't really matter where price is. Okay, we want to get the best possible price. Yes, that's fine. But generally, it doesn't really matter, because your investment strategy is dependent on you. Sorry, your investment strategy is based on buying as much CHSB as you can, as opposed to trying to take a trade and make a quick buck, right? So let's switch it now to the trader. Okay, as a trader now, looking at this chart, if I was looking to open a position on CHSB, I wouldn't be doing anything. I'd simply be waiting. You know, price doesn't really bother me. I'm not really, you know, not really too fussed, you know, at what, you know, where price actually is. My concern is, can I find a spot on CHSB at the moment that will offer me an opportunity to make X amount of return on my risk? And unfortunately, no, I can't. It's just simply not there. So the way that we get around that is to simply be patient. We wait, and when something happens, we will see it. Now on the weekly chart, the way that it's forming and the way that these candles are, they're quite tight. We see these couple of candles that are a little bit larger, a little bit of volatility here as well, you know, for the reasons that I discussed earlier. And now we're kind of slowing down. So for us to see something of magnitude that we can have confidence in on the weekly chart, we need something spectacular. I mean, we'd need a candle like this, a big, strong, bullish or bearish candle that really, you know, hits the chart and we're like, wow, we can't really not see that. It's just there in our face, yeah? So what we can do obviously is we can drop down sometimes to lower time frames. We can kind of try and get a little bit of a feel for some of the tighter price behaviors, and we can see we've got a small area over here. Price dips into it, and this all leads into where I think price could potentially be going next. You know, then we get this nice breakout. It comes all the way back in, negates, it tries to go, it negates, it tries to go, it negates. So while all of this is happening, it's showing that price is continuing to go down to accumulate more buy-side liquidity, right? But when we zoom in a little bit, and this is in the mind of a trader, right? Just looking for that one opportunity, you can see that price broke down a little bit here, tried to retrace, and then it's kind of reversed, and it looks like it wants to run a little bit deeper. Now, this is showing a little bit of weakness at the moment. Yeah, so CHSB at the moment is showing a little bit of weakness. At least that's what I can see. It doesn't mean, you know, I'm right. It just means that's what I can see. You know, so it is possible that eventually the effect of Bitcoin is going to, you know, be more potent, you know, and CHSB is, you know, eventually going to be affected by that continued downside on Bitcoin. Like I said, I do believe there's still a little bit more downside on Bitcoin. So with that in mind, I think this is probably going to bleed a little bit lower, possibly to the 60, potentially to the 55. But 55 is a little bit aggressive, but I think at least 60 to around about 55. I think, you know, CHSB has, you know, has the chance to get down there. And when I say chance, I don't, you know, I think it's a good thing, you know, if you're looking to accumulate, obviously. So and it won't really change, you know, anything in terms of price behavior. It won't really change anything in terms of the structure of everything that we're seeing. If we just mark out the daily liquidity pool, which is of importance, so we'll make it yellow. So this is the daily liquidity pool down here, and we can see that price could potentially come all the way down to this level, which hovers around about the 55 level, clearing up pretty much everything that's below these lows. So there's CHSB analysis, you know, for the start of this week. And I say start, it is Tuesday, but you know, for the remainder of the week, I'm, like I said, personally just taking a step back. I'm really looking for an opportunity to kind of do some more in-depth analysis on CHSB once it really starts to go, because at the moment there's not really much I can look at other than everything that I've already gone through and everything that I've already done in my own personal, you know, analysis. So with that said, I hope everyone's having an absolutely fantastic evening, and I look forward to speaking to you guys in the next update. All the best and take care.